2020 was the year of the SPAC. We saw these blank check companies raise more than $73 billion, outpacing the traditional IPOs. And going forward in 2021, this market is only expected to continue to grow at a rapid rate. And going public through a SPAC merger is the new popular way for young growth companies to get funding to grow their business. And in today's video, we're going to go over a SPAC that I own in my personal high-risk portfolio that I believe has huge future growth potential ahead of it and can 5 or 10x over the next few years. And the company we're going to examine today is Genius Sports Group. This company is a leader in the sports data industry, and they're hitting the public markets after their merger with ticker DMYD or DMY Technology Group 2. It currently trades for around $18.58, and if we take a look at my personal position, I own 10 shares of this company and I bought in at $13.44, representing a 38% growth in my current position. So I am in the green on this holding and I plan to continue to hold this stock after the merger takes place. So in this video, we're going to analyze Genius Sports Group, go over the company's current business model and how they're expected to grow for many years in the future. But before we do that, I'm going to ask you to please hit that like button and subscribe. I am the Gen Z investor, and every single day we talk about the stock market, going over different stocks you can buy or sell, or any major market news. So please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for those daily videos, and today we're going to focus on Genius Sports Group, a SPAC that I personally own in my portfolio, and is a company that I believe will be a long-term leader in the fast-growing sports betting industry. So let's start off by taking a look at the company's mission, so we can get an understanding of what management is trying to achieve. And with Genius Sports Group, they're trying to be the official data, technology, and commercial partner that powers the global ecosystem connecting sports, betting, and media. And their business is collecting official live sports data and providing that data in a usable fashion to some of the leading sports books all across the world. So they're the middleman that's taking the live sports data and providing that information to some of the top sports gambling sports books all across the planet. And I personally love how this company has positioned themselves in such a fast-growing market. If we take a look at their business plan, they are the middleman connecting the live sports leagues to the world's leading sports books. And how this works is that Genius Sports has official rights to the live sports data from some of the largest leagues in the world, including the NBA, NCAA, FIFA, Premier League, and many more. And what they do is take the official rights in that live data from the live sporting events, use their technology to transform all that information into a usable setting, and then sells those to some of the largest sports books on the planet. So this cycle will only continue to grow as the market for sports gambling picks up as well, which is projected to grow at the high 20 to 30% CAGR over the next 5 to 10 years in the future. And every single time we talk about this company's business model on the channel, it reminds me of the famous saying, don't try to mine for gold when you can sell the shovels. That worked back in the gold rush, and I believe it applies to Genius Sports at this point in time as well. They are the company providing the picks and the shovels to some of the largest sports betting companies in the world, including FanDuel, Flutter, DraftKings, and many more. They are providing the information and the data so that these other companies can go out, acquire the customers, and grow the sports betting market. And as those sports books continue to grow, the market and the demand for Genius Sports is only going to be carried along and growing as well. And I love the business's position in this ever-growing market. And if we take a look at their investor presentation, they're predicting 31% annual growth in the US alone over the next 5 years. And all across the world, we're expecting double-digit annual growth, and over the next 5 years, the market is expected to hit close to $60 billion by 2025. And right now, the company is well positioned to capture the fastest growing market, which is the United States. And out of 20 possible states, Genius is live in 11, they have submitted applications for 2 more, and are in the pre-application process for the remaining 7. So they are still a leader in this industry, live in 11 states all across the country. And going forward, they're in a strong position because of their massive amount of partnerships already with some of the top leagues all across the world. And some of the big names include the NBA, the NCAA, the PGA Tour, the English Premier League, and of course many more. And this company also has strong partnerships with the leading sportsbooks all across the country, including FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, William Hill, Skybet, Bet365, and of course, over 300 customers overall. And they have more than 100 media and advertising partnerships with some of the largest names in the sports world, such as the MLB, BetAmerica, and of course, Caesars Entertainment, and all of these other big name companies. So right now, they have such strong partnerships, and that's what's going to allow them to continue to grow year over year and let them remain a main player in this industry over the long term. And because Genius Sports sells live game data to these sportsbook companies, it's important that year over year, they're expanding their network and getting more data from more events as time goes on. And if we take a look, they have been successfully doing that since 2014. Each and every year, they cover more and more events, and over 2020, we're seeing a mass expansion. Over the first 3 quarters of the 2020 fiscal year, they covered 154,000 events, beating the total 2019 number. And remember, this includes the global pandemic when sports were shut down all across the planet for more than 4 months. And with the acquired rights that they already have, they're predicting more than 240,000 events for the full year of 2020, which is a mass expansion over the 2019 numbers. And going forward, as the company continues to expand their vast networks of partnerships with sports leagues all across the world, we're expecting the data they can collect from live events only going to grow. And as they collect more data, it gives them more valuable content that they can later sell to their customers in the sportsbook market. And overall, if this company can continue to maintain and grow the amount of events that they cover, that's only going to make them more valuable to their potential customers, increasing those relationships, strengthening those partnerships, and really making sure that Genius is the company they want to buy their data off of over the long term. And now, this chart indicates how the company's revenue is broken down. We have 11% coming from the actual sports leagues. We have 15% coming from the media and advertising division with their partnerships from some of the largest casinos in the world. And of course, a majority of the revenue, in 74%, is coming from the sale and the streaming of their live event data. So all the data that they process from those live events and all the different leagues across the planet, that makes up 74% of the revenue that they're directly selling to the major sports books. And what really attracted me to this company is how this 74% revenue source is structured. If we take a look, all these deals are set up in long-term contracts that last between 3 to 5 years and that have very low churn. And that's because if you're already dealing with Genius Sports and you're a live sportsbook, it's going to be very difficult to completely change your ecosystem to acquire data from another company. And what's impressive is that this leads to minimum guaranteed payments for Genius over the term of the contract. And those payments continue to grow each and every year set out in the underlying terms. So right away, when this company signs a 3 to 5 or 10-year deal with a provider, they already know and can forecast the revenue numbers going forward. And if we take a look at their revenue streams, 60% of their revenue breakdown is recurring. That's just incredible to me. Most SPACs don't have this revenue power and don't have the forecastability of the future growth of the business. And taking a look, each and every year, we're seeing mass expansion. They've seen strong, consistent growth over the past 5 years, and total revenue is up close to 250%. And the company is going to bring in $145 million of total revenue in the full year of 2020, even throughout a global pandemic that canceled sports all across the world. And this revenue breakdown that I've already mentioned is really what attracted me to starting a position in this company. I love recurring revenue. Some of the largest companies in the world that are subscription based have the best recurring revenue on the planet. And if this company can continue to grow their business while setting long-term contracts with price increases year over year with some of the largest sportsbooks on the planet, their revenue is going to be almost certain to grow as time goes on. And right now, their top 10 customers only make up 30% of the overall revenue, and the remaining customers make up a majority, or 70%. And I find that very impressive as well. With a lot of young SPACs, one risk is that they only have 1, 2, or 3 main customers that are really driving the sales of their total business. But with this company, we can see that their top 10 customers overall only make up 30% of their business, and if they were to lose one or two big names, the overall company would still be very strong, reducing the downside risks. And going forward, they see a very clear path to profitability over the next 3 years. Their total revenue is expected to grow at 28% year over year, and by 2022, we're expecting close to 240 million of total revenue, with 60% of that coming from guaranteed minimums on their contracts. And of course, with their EBITDA, year over year, that's only expected to pick up, and by 2022, we're expecting $68 million of total EBITDA, with a path to a 40% margin at greater scale. So this is more of a digital company as well. They're not selling physical products, they're selling digital technology, and overall, those companies typically have very high net income profit margins. And over the long term, I think Genius Sports will be able to achieve those high margins, making the company extremely valuable. So of course, right now, they are still in the SPAC stage. Their merger hasn't taken place yet, and once it does, they will trade under ticker GENI. And of course, like I mentioned right at the start of this video, I own a position in this company and I plan to hold post-merger because I think they will do very well. I think after this merger takes place, the name becomes a little more strong, and as sports betting data comes in post-Super Bowl and for many years in the future, their data is only going to become more valuable. They're going to continue to innovate and grow their population, and as a whole, I am a bull in this company. I own a very tiny position. I am planning to buy more over any dips that we see moving forward, and I think this is a true stock that could 5 or 10x over the next 5 years. I think they're still extremely small, and if they can hit $250 to $400 million of revenue, I can absolutely see this company being worth $3 to $10 billion over the longer term, representing a ton of upside from where we are today. So thank you for watching, everyone. I am the Gen Z Investor, and every single day we talk about the stock market, going over different stocks you can buy or sell, or any major market news. So please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for daily videos, and thank you for watching, and see you in tomorrow's episode.